We begin with this sad incident in Adamawa State where 2 people have been killed and 6 others injured, including a military personnel, in a fresh attack on Shafaron and Kudumti communities in Gunmen local government area. According to the police, the attack was carried out by suspected cattle rustlers who invaded the communities in large numbers, shooting sporadically and killing 2 people. The police PRO in the state, however, says officers have been deployed to the area to join other security operatives to secure the affected communities.
Kudumti and Shafaron are 2 farming communities in Gunmen local government area of Adamawa State. An air of sadness pervades the community. Residents cluster in groups to discuss the attack on Saturday, September the 21st, when gunmen invaded the community. According to the residents, the attack was unexpected as the gunmen invaded the communities at night when the residents were asleep, shooting sporadically while moving from one house to another. We head to Gunmen General Hospital, where victims of the attack are receiving treatment. The uncle of an 11-year-old whose father was killed by the attackers narrates his experience.
They did this May and April. April something of 22nd April. They killed the same attempt with this guy.
Some survivors also narrate their experiences.
It was at about 11 o'clock in the night. We heard gunshots from all directions. We ran out of our houses into the bush. We escaped to the next village of Shafron and sat under a tree to rest.
They were shooting for about 40 minutes unhindered. We're appealing to the government to help us with security agencies so that we can live in peace.
The medical officer of the hospital tells Channels Television that the victims who are receiving treatment are in stable condition.
They are responding well to treatments. So far, there is no death.
What about any severe case?
Well, there are severe so that would need surgery, exploration, like a little girl that was shot through the back into the abdomen. That needs serious exploratory laparotomy to determine the injuries and the damage to the internal organs.
The chairman of the local government, who commended the military for its prompt response, appeals for more security personnel in the area.
We really appreciate them for what they did yesterday, but we still want to call on the federal government to add more security so that this thing can be averted at the right time.
2 people have so far been confirmed dead in the attack, a resident of Shafaron and one of the attackers. However, the State Police Command, through its spokesman, DSP Suleiman Yahaya, says 1 person was killed and says the attackers were cattle rustlers. One of the attackers was killed in a crossfire with security operatives, and his corpse has been deposited at the Gunmen mortuary. The police spokesman says the Commissioner of Police, Adamawa State Command, has dispatched additional operatives to join other security agents to comb the bushes in the area and arrest the fleeing cattle rustlers.
Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has condemned the charge of treason leveled against the convener of Revolution Now protests, Mr. Moyele Sowore, by the federal government. Professor Soyinka, in a statement, says it is heartbreaking to know that the Sowore issue has moved beyond harassment and has taken on a sinister direction. He explains that he initially thought the news of the charges filed against Mr. Sowore was fake, but a confirmation has further made him believe that the government has attained an unprecedented level of paranoia. The Nobel laureate went on to say, "I do not believe that the Justice Department itself believes in these improbable charges as formally publicized. So, once again, we inscribe in our annals another season of treasonable felony. History will guard some lessons we have yet to digest, much less from which to learn." Professor Soyinka also says it is unfortunate that the country has not learned any lesson from the incidents of its recent past. The federal government has continued with efforts to reverse the UK court judgment ordering the country to pay PNID a contract sum of $9.6 billion. To this end, a Nigerian delegation is visiting the UK to discuss with the legal team of the company over the contract judgment. This is according to the Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, who insists that all cards are on the table with the hope of setting aside the award having regards to the applicable law in these circumstances. Mr. Malami says no possibility is ruled out, including the option of filing a new case or using existing proceedings to seek relief of setting aside the award of the contract. A British judge had last August granted the small private company access to seize up to $9.6 billion in assets belonging to the Nigerian government. That sum is about 20% of the country's foreign reserve. The judgment came about after the company sued the federal government over a failed deal to build a natural gas plant. Now, the Federal High Court has denied claims that there are attempts to stop the confirmation of Justice John Soho as the substantive Chief Judge of the Federal High Court. In a disclaimer by the Registrar of the Court, Mr. Emmanuel Garko, the court said its attention has been drawn to claims in some media reports by certain persons and groups on alleged attempts to tamper with the hierarchy and or succession to the headship of the Federal High Court. Mr. Garko said that there are well-established policies and procedures guarding the issue of succession, not only in the Federal High Court, but for all the hierarchy of court in Nigeria, and the acting Chief Judge is well acquainted with the procedures for succession in the leadership of the court, which so far have not been detracted from. Mr. Garko further stated that the Federal High Court and indeed the acting Chief Judge, Justice John Soho, completely dissociates themselves from any persons and groups that have come out to make public statements concerning succession to the leadership of the Federal High Court of Nigeria. The federal government is planning to begin a post-amnesty initiative where industrial clusters will be established that will generate employment for the people of the Niger Delta region. Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, said this during the inspection of some projects undertaken by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, in Port Harcourt, Rivers State.
This is Senator Godswill Akpabio's first visit to the NDDC since his appointment as the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. The management and staff of the commission are on hand to receive him and his entourage. With protocols over, the acting managing director of the NDDC, Dr. Akwanga Enya, informs the minister that the commission is reordering its priorities with that of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, and this is anchored on accountability and improved service delivery.
Every kobo expended by the commission, whether on execution of projects or provision of services, must count.
On his part, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs brings them up to speed with the President's vision for the people of the region, but warned that emphasis must be on completing all ongoing projects.
We must ask for more, because we deserve more. Are you with me? Yes. The government still has obligations under the law to remit some monies to you in the NDDC. I will fight for the remittances to come to you.
From the office, the minister and his team were taken on an inspection tour of the ongoing construction of the 13th floor permanent headquarters of the NDDC at Marine Base Road in Port Harcourt and the failed section of the East-West Road at Rumwego in Kpolu area of Rivers State. Here, the minister informs reporters about plans to begin a post-amnesty program across the Niger Delta area.
We want to build clusters of SMEs to ensure that we can ensure that they are producing different items, even if it's fruit juice, even if it's ceramics, even if it is this, even if it's men nails and all that. So when you come into that cluster, you see hundreds of Niger Deltans, and some of them will be those who are graduating from the amnesty program.
As nightfall approaches, the minister continues his inspection of the East-West Road with a promise to meet the relevant authorities and interact with them on the need to fix the failed sections of the road.
Staying with development, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to ensuring a business-friendly climate to enable businesses in the country thrive. Professor Osinbajo gave the assurance in Akwa Ibom State while commissioning a flour mill as part of activities marking the 32nd anniversary of the creation of Akwa Ibom.
As part of the industrialization drive of the Udom Emmanuel administration in Akwa Ibom State, in a public-private partnership, the King's Flour Mill has been built. Speaking at the brief commissioning ceremony, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, stressed the importance of good infrastructure to the industrialization of any society. He says the project was in line with the federal government's policy of encouraging investment to grow the economy.
One of the things that we've emphasized is that we want to attract investment to Nigeria. How do we attract investment to Nigeria? We need power, we need infrastructure, we need the right environment to bring in investments. And so it's important that any state government that wants to bring investments in and wants to join the federal government must also partner with us in providing some infrastructure and in providing the means by which it will be easier for businesses to come into Nigeria.
The chairman of the flour mill told Channels Television that it has the capacity to produce 500 metric tons of flour per day, while also creating 1,500 direct employment opportunities.
We requested him to give us a land to build this great structure in this part of the country. So thanks God, he gave us the land. He supported us with infrastructure. And now we are in this, if you ask me, gorgeous compound, and which has the newest technology in Nigeria. Of course, we have lots of flour mills in Nigeria, but I think this is the most advanced technology factory in the country.
Governor Udom Emmanuel says the project, which was in line with his industrialization policy, will help to bring the benefits of good governance to the people at the grassroots. He urges them to take advantage of the opportunities provided by the project.
If we say we're in leadership, we're in governance, we must give our people bread. And that's why we are promoting not just this, we are promoting a lot of agricultural-based development. And by the special grace of God, we want to be self-sufficient. What's our target? Before we leave office, 80% of what we eat in Akwa Ibom must be produced in Akwa Ibom.
The Vice President also commissioned a plywood factory and the Akim Power Substation, signifying the official launch of the state government's Power for All in 2021.
And to politics, it will only be fair and just for the southeast geopolitical zone to produce Nigeria's next president come 2023. That's the view of elder statesman and leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, Chief Edwin Clark. He told Channels Television's Ladia Kiridoluale on our current affairs programs, Newsnight, that given the zone's contribution to national growth and development, it is only right that other zones support a quest for an Igbo presidency come the next general election in 2023.
Everybody in this country is equal status. The North was a region. The East was a region. The West was a region. Before and at independence. Nobody was superior to the other, the three regions or four regions. Today, the Northerners have been having president. I'm not counting those who became military heads of state also. The West has got it several times. And the South side, we have got it. The Easterners have not got it. It's now their turn. Students of history, politics, science, and so on, to realize that the Igbos played a leading role in the politics of this country, right from 1951 or 47. Even before NPC was found in the North, there was NCNC. Is it because of the war you should now relegate them to the background?
And for the full interview with Chief Clerk, do watch Newsnight tomorrow, Monday 23rd September 2019, only on Channels Television.